get to chat this morning. I'm really excited to be interviewing you. It's been a bloody long time since I have, I think.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. How cool is this? Like, seriously, everyone's Monday morning just got a whole lot better, hey?
You're right. You're absolutely right. So I want to showcase how amazing you are to everybody that might be watching this. So let's start off with what it is that you do. What's the name of your business and why did you set it up?
Yeah, okay. So the name of my business is Social Media and Marketing Australia. Now,
Great name.
way back in 2018, I think it was, when I had been in a business partnership with somebody else, with a gentleman, and we had been traveling the country doing marketing. And then that partnership kind of frizzled out, and it frizzled out really quite quickly, not in a bad way, but quite quickly. And it was
Right.
just like, okay, I need to do this by myself now. What am I going to call myself? So I literally went to Venture IP, which is where they host all my website domains, and I have way too many. And I think you and I have had this discussion before.
We could.
And basically, I found that socialmediaandmarketing.com.au was free. And I
Oh
just
my God,
remember
meant to be.
looking at the computer going, what? How can in 2018 this domain still be free? I don't know whether someone forgot to pay their subscription. I just slipped in there on the right day. So that's basically how my business got its name. And then to register the business, I had to tack Australia on the end. So Social Media and Marketing Australia is the name of my business. But I have to say, I've kind of been morphing over the last couple of years more into a Jenn Donovan brand. Like, really,
Yeah,
I
good.
started off talking thinking I might have built a team. I have a team, but they're virtual assistants. They're not people that are client facing. So really, you buy me. So why don't I just kind of rebrand into that Jenn Donovan type of brand? So
And I
yeah.
just think that's brilliant. And just while we're touching on it, let's just talk a little bit about domains. How many have you got?
I think at last count I had 32 and I let about 17 go.
I think I beat you. I think I had 39. And I've just let a whole heap of them go after years of paying for them. So I don't know why I didn't just try and sell them. But
Yeah.
I'm very excited that I do have the smallbusinessclub.com, or small
Ah,
business club, I think it is.com. Anyway, very exciting. But I love that collecting domains. And I felt exactly the same way when I started Australian Women Speakers, that no one had taken womenspeakers.com.au or female speakers. So it's
yeah,
kind of crazy, isn't it, that people's head where people's heads are at, that some of those don't get snapped up straight away. Okay, so that was kind of why you started it. Then you went off and did something a little bit left of field in about 2020, 2019. Do you want to tell everyone what happened to you? Because that's such an amazing story.
yeah. Look, so I
Not what
suppose
happened to you, what you
yes.
built, I should say. Better way of putting it.
So for context, I'm obviously my business is social media and marketing, so that's what I do. But I live in a rural area, so I live in the Riverina of New South Wales, which is way down the bottom of New South Wales on the Murray River.
Yeah.
And like, funnily enough, going back to that previous business that I had, there's no way I would have told you I lived on a farm. Like, I was kind of like, if I don't come from the city, no one is going to believe that I'm any good at this
Wow.
marketing thing.
Right.
So I've gone through a massive transition in this
You have.
business to now knowing that being rural is actually part of my superpower. So I guess, for I'm a farmer's wife, and
Yeah.
in 2019, it's hard to imagine now with all the floods and everything that's happening and the weather we've had, but we were in horrific drought. Like, it was really dire.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
these big, strong farmers that we'd known all our lives, in puddles of water because of tears, because they just didn't know when this
Yeah.
drought was going to break. And I'd been on a tour, a marketing tour around my region, around the Riverina, talking about marketing and social media. And it was October, and no one was excited about Christmas. Now, Christmas is retail's Christmas. Like,
Heaven.
you know, like, if you can't make money at Christmas time, then the rest of the year is going to be really tough for any sort of retailer. But of course, out here in the country, if farmers don't have money, towns don't have money. That's the
Yeah.
reality. When farmers are doing it tough, towns are doing it tough. And so buy from the bush was a hashtag that was trending on Instagram. But all the week, all I heard people say was, well, how do you use Instagram? I don't know how to use
Yeah,
Instagram.
I have to put up my hand and say I have no idea how to use it either.
And so I was coming back from Hay, which is in New South Wales in the middle of nowhere. And like there's nothing to look at, it's flat plains. And I just came up with this idea of, well, if no one knows how to use Instagram, maybe I should just start a Facebook group. So I got home on the Friday night. I started a Facebook group called Buy from a Bush Business. I invited my friends. I invited the people that I'd seen that week that, and I just sort of said, invite your friends, sell some stuff. It doesn't matter if you haven't got a website, just, people might ring you and, things like that. And it just grew and grew and grew and grew.
I couldn't believe it. I think you invited me. And I think when I looked at it at first, there were maybe, I don't know, 150 or something. And then I feel like it was a month later, I looked and there were 47,000.
Yeah. Look,
and then it just exploded, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And it was the perfect storm. So, and perfect storm, I say that in the nicest possible way because it was absolutely quite horrific what we're about to go through. But it was. I remember feeling, quite ridiculous now having these posts, 5,000 members. Woohoo! 5,000 members. This is fantastic. And then it was like 120 members. Oh my God, what am I doing?
Well, what did it get up to? Before I think you passed it on to someone else. But
yeah, so I've actually resigned because we created a whole business model around it, and I've resigned from that directorship that I had. But I think it sits at it got as high as about 387.
Oh my God! And I think what's
387,000 for anyone who's listening, not 387 people.
387,000 in a year. It was pretty much, wasn't it? But I guess what's interesting from that is that a lot of people do want to grow their following, and their dream would be to have 370 or 387,000. Do you want to just quickly touch on, be careful what you wish for, before we move on a little bit more into what it is you're doing now?
Yeah, look, I would do things so much differently. And basically, I think most of my woes with such a big audience came because it was just something I wanted to do. I wanted to help because, I've said we're in horrific drought. And if we remember back, the big bushfires of 2020 came soon after that. And then, of course, we ended up having COVID after that. Out here in the country, we had mouse plagues after that. We've had floods. So the world just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I guess for me, one of the things was too, like, I remember back to the horrific drought we're in and the Today Show, for instance, and not ditching on the Today Show, but, they would do these big fundraisers and they would raise like $5, $6, $7 million for the farmers. And I can tell you hand on heart, I never saw a penny of that as a farmer. My district never saw a penny of that as a farmer. So where did that money go? And I'm not saying it went anywhere that it shouldn't have, but my idea was I can help the person on the ground because the money goes straight to them. There is no giving and they work out where it goes. This actually goes to the person. So as far as be careful what you wish for, it was can I say shit show? I don't know. Sorry. But it was kind of because I didn't have a business model around it. I was doing it all of my own free will and with all the love in the world. And I can definitely say I saw the absolute best of humanity through that group and the absolute worst of humanity. There is some really horrible people out there. And, they didn't last long. So obviously, I blocked them.
I know, but it's so sad to think that someone would come and troll something like that. Like, it's just, anyhow, it is what it is. There are people out there with nothing better to do with their time.
Look, so and we all know it. Now. Yeah, we all know it.
Yeah, so talk to me about social media and marketing and Jenn. I mean, I don't know. Do we want to talk about Jenn Donovan? Is it actually jenndonovan.com we should be talking about?
Look, it's still jenndonovan.com.au. You will find the same website as if you type in social media and marketing.com.au. I guess I'm just more Jenn Donovan on socials. So if you're looking for me on socials, I'm Jenn Donovan because I'm the face and the dulcet tones you get to hear and see if you do that. So it's a bit of both at the moment.
So who are you targeting and how are you helping people?
Yeah, so I guess I'm targeting small business owners who need marketing strategy.
Yeah.
We kind of we know we should be marketing, and platforms that we're on live at the moment are all platforms that we use
Not
for
Instagram, you'll notice.
unlike except Instagram. But it's kind of like there's a difference between using the platforms and being strategic at using them as well. So I'm kind of, I guess I target rural and regional small businesses as well because that's my passion. That's the book that I wrote was around marketing for rural and regional small businesses.
I should have introduced you as an author. Go on, tell everyone about the book as well. Show us.
Oh, okay. 2 secs. One I prepared earlier.
Small town, big impact. So just brilliant.
So that's my book that I wrote about marketing, but it's really like I just want people to sort of think, I want marketing to be a priority. So I want them to sit down on a Monday morning or a Sunday night or whenever suits them and go, radio, I'm going to prioritize my marketing because if we want to grow, more people have got to know about us.
That's right.
Or to know to come back again. So I think social media, we've obviously been sold quite a few furfies through social media, build it and they will come, but that's just not the reality. No. It's very busy out there. But yeah, anyone who's sort of like, I've been marketing for a little while, Jen, and I'm just not getting the traction that I need, or the business isn't going the direction I'd hoped. I need a strategy. Can you help me? That's where I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, let's do that. And whether the strategies, email marketing, social media, PR, whatever it is, wherever you want to sort of start turning up.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah. So I'm not like a social media strategist. I'm a marketing strategist. So yeah.
Okay. And so let's talk about email marketing because it's one of those things that I think a lot of us do because we know we should, but it's you feel like you're harassing people. And I know I'm not the only one. And I know you talked to this brilliantly because it did make me last time go, all right, Jules, bite the bullet and start sending out emails again. But talk to me a little bit about it because I think a lot of us do feel like, oh my God, we're drowning in emails. It doesn't work, but it does, doesn't it?
It does. It works, but and I think people are like, it doesn't work. And so it's like, yeah, well, how's your social media? When was the last time you looked at the analytics for that? How much money are you earning from posting on social media? It could be email marketing. You get more opens, you get more traction. It's a greater way to nurture people because that is, I guess, one of the furfies we've been told about social media is that we're always chasing that next customer. It's just like, well, what about the person you already know, likes, trusts you and bought from you? What are you doing to market to them? And I think that's the place that email marketing sits perfectly is the people who already know, like and trust you and trust you enough that they've given you their email address and potentially people who have bought from you and need to buy from you again. So it's a very much a warm audience / hot audience marketing strategy. It's not a cold audience. Like that is social media's, I guess, brilliance is that we can get our name and our products and our services under someone who potentially never heard of us before because someone's liked it or someone's shared it and that sort of thing. But the whole nurture is where email for me sits. Yeah.
And of course, the other thing, what you were just saying about, my mind's gone blank. Doesn't matter. The phone's ringing. You know when the phone rings when you're trying to do an interview and you go, don't look at it. Okay. I can't remember what I was going to say, but it'll come to me in a minute. So talk to me about working with a client. Can you tell us a couple of stories of where you've worked with someone and it's really made a big difference?
Yeah. I think certainly some of the clients that have come through, it's made a really big, massive difference to them. Like if I take, someone like Michael, who's in leadership, who I worked with for quite some time, didn't really see the value in SEO, didn't really see the value in writing blogs and putting his expertise out there and showcasing that. One of the other things I talk about a lot is that human to human marketing. So that's showing up, that telling people who you are, what you do, all of that sort of thing so that people can get to know, like, and trust you. So, that made a massive...
So what happened for him? You clearly persuaded him that email marketing was the way to go. And was he doing social media before that or did you have to...
Yeah, but again, without strategy. So,
Right.
yeah, so lots of people are already doing marketing, but there's no strategy behind that marketing. So for him, I guess it helped to survive the pandemic because, all face to face
Yep.
kind of went, and it was kind of like, right, well, how do you pivot in something that is very face to face driven? So, the webinars, the lead magnets, all that sort of thing became something that, he managed to make through the pandemic and actually grow his business so that coming out
Well
of
done.
that, it became something that he couldn't have grown in
It
such a
really
short
started
space
the
of time.
momentum. Yeah, because a lot
Yeah.
of people stopped. I remember people were saying, "Now's not the time to do marketing. Now's not the time to do PR." And I was doing all these things going, "Now is exactly the time to do it." Because you can build up your profile. A lot of people are holding back. So,
Mm.
you've got much more chance of getting in. And
Yeah.
everyone's reading.
Yeah.
Everyone was reading and watching
Yeah.
through that
What
whole
else do we
time.
have to do?
No, that's
Absolutely.
right. But
Absolutely.
listen,
And
I remember what it was that I was going to say, and I remember you doing a learning table for She's the Boss, and this is stuck in my mind, which is don't build your house on someone else's real estate, or was it
yeah.
don't build your property on someone else's land, or
Yeah.
along that. And what do you mean by that? Because we all got quite burnt in about, was it 2021 when Zuckerberg did it? Anyway, you go.
Yeah, yeah. So my background is in law. So before marketing and before lots of other things, I did law. So it was don't build empires on crown land because, crown land is, obviously a term, um,
Right.
land that you don't own, basically. And that was very similar to what we're doing on social media. Like we have no control. We
No.
have, no idea if our post is going to reach our ideal client or not, or how many of
Well,
them.
look at Twitter. I mean, I wasn't big
Yes.
on Twitter, but I would have. Imagine if you'd built up hundreds of thousands of followers and then Elon
Mm.
Musk had come along and changed the whole thing and you've lost it all.
Yeah, that's such a
And
shit
all those
fire over
people that
there.
own Instagram pages that go, oh my God, I built it up to 100,000 and
Mhm.
it's been locked on me.
Yeah,
So,
like, like you mightn't like the platforms aren't going to shut down, which could be a word,
we hope.
unfortunately. But you can get hacked. Like I probably get 2 emails a week or 2 DMs a week from someone who's like, "Can you help me? Do you know anyone can help me? I've either been hacked or I've been duplicated," like that. Like running competitions on social media at the moment is a bit of a no, 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 because they've literally got bots out there looking for the words competition and giveaway, and then they're just, repurposing or copying your profile and then stealing your followers over there. For what purpose? I
Oh,
don't know.
God, really?
Yeah, it's shocking. Anyone who's doing a competition, especially on Instagram at the moment, is really, they
Struggling.
often don't notice till someone texts them or message them and say, "Is this you?" Because obviously they block the
Right.
person. They're smart, dumb people. But
Yeah, right.
yeah, so it is that. Yeah, look, I've completely gone off on a tangent and forgotten where I was actually
No,
going.
that's all right. We were talking about the power of email marketing and
I
why
we
it's
were
still
talking about
important, and
Crown
then how you need
Land.
to take
Yes.
people off your social media and
Mm.
into your database.
Yeah. So for me, the number one reason why I'm on social media is to try and get people off social media onto an email list, because that's where I nurture them. That's where, they get, some good things and special things that people on social media don't get, in the Jenn Donovan empire, all of that sort of thing. Like it is really important. And, like I might get 11% of people see my post on social media, but of 11% of my followers, but I might get a 32% open rate. Like, you
That's
know,
right. Yeah, true, true.
and people say they don't like email marketing and I don't like getting emails, but the truth is people just don't like getting crap emails. So if
Yes,
you write
that's
crap
very true.
emails, don't do email marketing. But if you've got a strategy and you're good at it, then yeah, let's do
Yeah.
some email marketing.
Okay, so talk to me about any courses, books, events, services. What have you got going on at the moment that
Well, I've got a
we
book that
can
we
talk
saw
about?
earlier.
Yes. So where can people buy that, and
Um,
what kind of people should buy it?
yeah, look, it's got 107, 107 marketing strategies in it. So again, I'm just
Fantastic.
trying to stretch people away from what marketing do you do? Oh, I do Facebook and Instagram. Okay, well, there's probably 105 other things that you could probably look at doing in your business. So it is focused towards rural and regional businesses because that's the language I use. I use the language around towns and communities as opposed to suburbs and things like that. But it doesn't mean it doesn't relate to anybody who has a small business. But it is, there's no book out there written for small businesses in regional areas. So that's my thing. So that's why I wrote the book. You can get it on my website, socialmediamarketing.com.au, or you can get the Kindle version on Amazon or Booktopia. But if you get it from my website, you get a little gift sent to you and a little handwritten note. So I love to do those. So you can get that. My course that I created, so I am very much a work under pressure person. So I've been wanting to create a course for about 4 years now, and it's on the back of my door over there then as an outline. And when I wrote the book, at the back of my book there are sales pages, and one of them is sign up for the course. It was like, oh shit, now I need to create the course.
No, I love that though. I love to just create a course, get it started, and then write it as I go.
Yeah, because I had it planned for years and years and years, but just never bit the bullet. So I printed it in the book so to force me to do the course. So it's a 9-week marketing transformation program. So it basically goes all the way down. It's 9 weeks. Obviously, it's self-paced, but you do get me as well. You can have little calls with me to sort of work out things if you're having trouble. You get I think you get about 2 hours of Jenn time, that you book in yourself, but it goes all the way back to the beginning because I think a lot of people need to go back to who is your who, where do they hang out, and what do you want to be famous for? But then it's got, a module on email marketing, a module on AI. It's got a module on social media. It's got a module on PR marketing. It's got a module on collaborations and a module on, like things like how do you use testimonials or guarantees as part of your marketing strategy. So, yeah, it's 9 weeks, self-paced if you'd like.
So you can start whenever you want?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so it's just on your website?
Yeah, just on my website. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And what other bits and pieces have you got going on that other people can hook in and have a bit of Jenn magic?
Oh, well, they can listen to my dulcet tones on my podcast, of course.
What's the podcast? And tell us more.
Podcast is called Small Business Made Simple. You'll kind of notice something about the way I call things what it is on the box type of thing. 9-week marketing transformation program, social media and marketing Australia, Small Business Made Simple.
I like it.
Like very simplistic names. But it's basically I interview people. I do my own podcasting as well. But it's basically how I can help you simplify small business because small business isn't easy, but it should be simple, or at least simpler than what it is. So my idea is, what strategies can I give you? How can I, answer your questions? At the moment, I'm trying to theme my podcast. So we're in April now. The theme is all around small business basics. Last month, the theme was all about amplification. So how can you amplify your message, your brand, yourself, your business? The month before that was all around email marketing. So I'm trying to sort of do these themes. I'm in year 6, so I'm just trying to mix it up.
I was going to say, let's just have a little moment to give yourself a pat on the back, because how many downloads have you had? Like, I know I've had, I can't even remember what it is, 20,000 or something. You've had hundreds of thousands, haven't you?
Yeah, look, I haven't looked for a little while. I think it's probably around, I don't know, 240,000 or something.
Oh my giddy aunt. That's amazing. That is such an amazing thing to have achieved. Well done.
Yeah,
and that's an absolute testament to your marketing too.
Yeah, look, I think it's, I know my audience. I know that they like to listen to podcasts while they're driving in cars or going for walks or things like that. So, podcasting is great if people, if your audience listens to podcasts.
And have you ever had a sponsor?
I've had a couple of sponsors. Last year, I tried to sort of do sponsorship. Look, I don't know. I had a bit of an unalignment with it.
Right.
So
this year, you've got to be careful about that, I think.
You do. Like, I think if I got a sponsor, rather than, like, I would rather shout out small businesses that I've dealt with or I've had, such a great experience
exactly.
with and things like that. But potentially if a sponsor came along that aligned with my values and wanted to sponsor the podcast, I would. But yeah, look, it's a little bit.
No, I just wondered because people talk about monetizing them. I see them as a strategic thing. I think of a podcast as not only pushing your name out there, but the guests you bring in can be if you're clever about it, you can actually get people who could send you customers as well. But it's definitely a time and a money zapper.
Yes.
But it's a great way for people to get to know, like, and trust you, as you say. So
yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's many people who come into my world that pay me money, so become customers, whether that be buy a book, do a course, work with me one-to-one coaching, that hasn't come through the podcast or hasn't listened to the podcast. Like, it is a massive feeder for me for people who want to learn a little bit more about marketing and get to know me. Yeah, very rarely do I ask people, and they're like, oh no, I heard you on the podcast and then I went and had a look at this and then I started following you and then I bought your book or whatever. But quite so often it starts at the top with my podcast. So I often, I'm in year 6, there's 290 episodes. Sometimes I think, when will I finish? But then when I talk like that, I think to myself, well, I don't know when you can finish, I guess, when you don't want any more leads.
Well, that's
potentially.
right. I know that I having not monetized She's the Boss chats, ended up, I've started it live, but I've stopped the audio one. I got to 250 episodes in 2.5 years and went, you know what? I've put quite a lot of time into it. Maybe it's time to just move in another direction. But I might come back to it, because you can come back to a podcast and relaunch it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
That's all good. So, Jenn, I have just loved our interview. Can you tell people what is the best way for them to be able to get hold of you, or to be able to work with you, or to be able to get on your podcast, or whatever they might want to do?
Yeah, look, basically socialmediaandmarketing.com.au, you will find my course, my book, you'll find the podcast there. Of course, you can listen to the podcast in any good podcast app like Spotify or Apple or YouTube or anything like that. But you can also listen to it on my website, which gives me really good Google love, just putting it out there. If you want
So
super
listen
special.
Fantastic.
Otherwise, find me, Jenn Donovan, Jenn with 2 N's, as you can see printed there on the screen, on socials, and connect and say, hey, I heard you with Jules. I'd love to connect or something, make it human. Reach out as a human to another human.
I think that is terrific. And I absolutely friggin' love you. So I've adored every minute of this interview. Thank you so, so much for being my guest. For those of you, sorry, what were you going to say?
I said, my pleasure.
So good to have you here. So this has been the She's the Boss live podcast live stream show. It's all about shining a light on female founders and women doing extraordinary things in business. And Jenn definitely ticks all those boxes. If you want to know more about She's the Boss Group, you can go to she'sthebossgroup.com and find out all about our events online and offline, the podcast and all the rest of it. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I think this is going through my LinkedIn profile, or join She's the Boss Group on Facebook, which Jenn is on as well, and they're very engaged, lots of lovely women in there. I'm also a coach, and I teach people how to become a woman of influence, and I've recently launched Australian Women Speakers, which is in beta testing at the moment, but I'm hoping got 60 women on there now. So I would say in about another week or so, we'll go live. But thank you so much for listening. And oh, look, we've got a little Facebook news. I just have to put up this little thing, just a little comment that someone made. So thank you very much, whoever it is that's made that comment. And I will see you next week on it. But if you want to get hold of Jenn, which I highly recommend you do, then go and connect with her on Facebook or LinkedIn. And thank you again so much, Jenn.
Thank you, Jules. Thanks so much. It's been great.